what got in Connor's head, he kept on saying, I'm going to take his head off, I'm going to take his head off. If he'd have said, like, you know what, yeah, I'm going to box him. He didn't. He went in there thinking, I'm going to take his head off. And that reminded me the same when he fought the French guy, Paynard. Just want to go in and take his head off. Winging the punches in, I thought, oh my gosh, he's not going to win this. But I didn't come away like, upset. I just cuddled my son. Didn't say a word. And the funny thing about it, the next day we went in the sauna because Connor's been giving me grief. He said, mate, if you took care of business, I wouldn't have to do this. So then we got in the shower. I've got to tell you this joke. We got in the shower and I left the door open. And he started
sauna, Dad.
The sauna. He said, mate, why are you leaving the door open for? And he was really moaning at me. I said, shut up, you loser. But we both burst out laughing because at the end of the day, we know that this.
It was a little bit too soon, Dad. It was like day after the fire.
Yeah, I know, but you give it to me though, didn't you? You said if I'd done the job, you wouldn't have to do it, and you lost. Now you got to go and put the record straight, mate.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, don't worry, mate. I'm going to keep reminding you that.
Past because of what happened, but I'm just letting you know. If your hand ever touches me again, you won't get it back.
Shut your fucking mouth, Jim.
You feel so strongly about something, and it is your life. You're not going to have some fucker just make up bullshit, particularly when you're talking about stopping an ambulance. That is an accusation that could cost someone their life. And if you think that we are the kind of people, and I'm, the kind of individual, we are the kind of company that would stop an ambulance from getting a fighter to the hospital, then you are some kind of plump. And it's not just a case of, oh, don't worry about it,
Chris Eubank Jr. fiercely fires back at Nigel Benn live, tearing apart the so-called People's Champion label as he blasts Eddie Hearn's tricks and illusions, portraying Benn as nothing but an imposter, and making it clear this isn't just words, but Eubank exposing the Benn side with relentless certainty.
But, I'm going to tell you right here and now, you ain't no champ. And you most definitely ain't no people's champ, so get that out of your head. You keep letting Eddie Hearn blow smoke up your ass and you're going to end up being even more of an embarrassment than he is. These men are not men of the people. They are pretending. They're pretending to be the good guys. Wolves in sheep's clothing, if you will. They will do anything they...
Now, Eubank goes even harder, directly calling out Nigel Benn's excuses. Eubank Jr. rips apart Benn's claims, silencing the victim talk with sheer authority, reminding all that he is the winner, the one who already proved it in the ring. This isn't about excuses. It's the raw truth spoken with the unmatched confidence only Eubank brings.
They know what he is. I have no reason to lie. I won the fight. I don't need to be here. I don't need to make excuses. He talks about playing the victim. What? I won the fight. I'm not the victim. I'm the victor. I was victorious. So I have no reason to lie about anything. I'm telling my truth. I'm exposing what these people want to keep hidden in the dark. And I will continue to do so.
Eddie Hearn quickly stepped in, eager to shield Benn's side, attempting to cover Benn's shortcomings by framing Eubank as disrespectful. But it's the same worn-out defense repeated again. Claims that things will be different this time carry no weight, as Eubank's calmness already defeated Benn once and will break him again when the pressure returns.
Say there's been a lot of respect anyway. Personally, I don't like him. He thought I was going to be an easy touch, which is why he fought a welterweight. So is there much respect there? Not really, but ultimately, I'm ready to honour my side of the agreement, which was the 2-fight deal, and it's safe to say he's scared. He almost lost. Could have gone either way to a well.
Tony Bellew hits the point perfectly, stressing that a rematch isn't about stamina or conditioning, but about mindset, experience, and composure. And that's exactly where Chris Eubank Jr. already holds the edge over Conor Benn. Eubank has been in the spotlight, endured tough battles, and built his career on surviving the biggest moments, while Benn remains untested in comparison. Bellew makes it clear
this guy has zero respect for anything. And I hope people can see through it. Some will, some won't. But if you can't see them, that's a lot of what happened up there was just wrong. So listen, we go to work and we're in to win the fight. It's going to be different this time.
Johnny Nelson shared his view, siding strongly with Benn, but let's be real. Labeling Eubank Jr. as stiff or flat is just grasping at straws. Yes, Conor Benn may show progress, yet it's worth remembering that Eubank fought smart, set the tempo, and never looked close to breaking. Nelson's claim that the outcome could reverse is little more than wishful thinking. Boxing isn't about flashy footwork, it's about control, composure, and forcing your opponent into your fight, which is exactly what Eubank achieved. Benn lasting the distance doesn't erase the fact he was outclassed. Nelson can hype Benn's growth, but under true pressure, those gains collapse. Once Eubank changes levels, Benn has no reply, and deep down the fans recognize it. Nelson's opinion grabs headlines, but it doesn't change the reality. Eubank is still the better fighter.
Though, you know you've had 2 warnings.
Yeah.
You need to be careful, don't you?
You do.
Treading a fine line.
You do, but it's not the head then that comes in. So he's on one final warning for the head, but getting into an exchange in the final punch of the round, he's trying to win the round.
Yeah, impress the judges at the end of the round.
Eddie Hearn tries to sound strategic here, urging Benn to fight with more control. But that's far easier said than done when the opponent is Chris Eubank Jr. Telling Benn not to swing wildly is essentially admitting his approach is reckless and undisciplined, which plays directly into Eubank's strengths. He studies wild fighters, picks his timing, and makes them pay for mistakes. Benn's passion and aggression can't be denied, but that alone isn't enough against someone skilled at breaking down chaotic pressure. Eddie can stress fighting smarter, yet how often have we seen Benn fall back into disorder once the heat is on? Against Eubank, that's a recipe for defeat. Hearn can offer endless advice, but once the bell rings, Benn's instincts betray him. And that's why Eubank's calm, measured style gives him every advantage in a rematch.
I do see improvement there for Conor, and I do think the results will be different the other way around in the next fight. I think it'll go the distance all over again.
Carl Froch gave his perspective on what this fight truly represents, keeping it brutally straightforward. This clash isn't about the sport itself, it's about the men involved, and he's right. For Conor Benn, it's desperation, a chance to erase defeat and rescue his reputation. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's about legacy, as beating Benn again would silence the critics and confirm his dominance. Froch fairly points out the money aspect, since boxing has always revolved around big paydays. But for Eubank, there's more on the line. Pride, control of the rivalry, and proving Benn's name alone can't carry him in real battles. Froch understands the weight of settling rivalries, and his words highlight how massive this fight is for both. Still, if one man enters with the edge, it's Eubank Jr., because he's already done it and walked away the winner.
Benn's Conor Benn. But I want him just to be a little bit smarter. We can't, like Nigel said, he's just winging away. And the heart's great, the balls are great, but you can outbox this guy as well. You're going to have to stand and fight, because he's going to try and walk you down and be the bigger man. But just be a little bit smart with it as well.
Duke McKenzie highlights an important angle. The generational pull of this fight. 3 eras, from past legends to today's young fans, all tuning in to see Eubank Jr. and Benn settle the score, and that's what makes this rivalry unique. Yet while Benn's camp leans on nostalgia, it's Eubank Jr. who carries the present. He isn't relying on a family name or old memories, but on his own wins. For kids training in gyms and fans watching at home, Eubank stands as the fighter who built his path and earned his place. McKenzie is right about the excitement, but hype alone doesn't decide fights. When the bell sounds, it won't be about generations. It'll be about one fact. Chris Eubank Jr. remains a level above Conor Benn.
For me, it's a fight that probably means a lot less for boxing than what it does for the actual fighters. You know, the fighters, for them, there's a lot at stake. Conor Benn wants to overturn the decision, and Chris Eubank wants to cement the decision and say, I've done it twice. Bottom line is they're making big bunts, aren't they? Big dollar, and they might as well make money. These are prize fighters. We can't begrudge them making money fighting, because that's what they do. That's why they get in the ring.
Barry Jones makes the point perfectly, saying this fight will only take more out of Conor Benn. The first meeting was already brutal, and the rematch promises another draining night. He's clear that unless something unusual happens, like a shock early punch landing, Chris Eubank Jr. stays the favorite. And that's a truth most boxing fans already accept. Eubank isn't just stronger physically, he's sharper mentally and far more experienced. Tough nights against fighters like him don't just test fitness, they wear down spirit. Benn may talk a big game, but surviving one war doesn't mean winning the next. Barry is right to stress that, because once a fighter like Eubank has the formula, repeating success comes easier. Benn's team can promote the fight as much as they like, but when reality sets in, Eubank is still the man to beat, and Barry knows it.
Right. However, the intrigue that surrounds this fight, I've got young kids in my gym that are going to be tuning into this
Three
fight.
generations are going to watch it, aren't they? That's what's great.
To me, they're so excited about it.
Adam, the rehydration clause, one of the things that I failed to ask Eggy Hearn on Thursday at the press conference was...
Jack Catterall gives Benn some praise here, even predicting him to win. But let's be honest, saying Benn can definitely stop Eubank Jr. sounds good on paper, yet it doesn't match reality. Being capable isn't the same as actually doing it. In their first fight, Benn had moments, but never really looked close to finishing Eubank. It was Eubank who controlled the tempo, soaked up the pressure, and left with the win. Catterall calling it unbelievable is fair, as it was an exciting clash, but the gap between a great fight and a great fighter comes down to composure, and that's where Benn lacks. Eubank's chin, stamina, and tactical IQ are already proven, while Benn remains untested at the elite level. Fans may enjoy the thought of an upset, but once the punches fly, dreams don't win fights. Durability and skill do. That's why Catterall's prediction feels more like hype than solid reasoning.
Can only harm him. Because that was a hard fight, the first one. This one will be another hard fight, whoever wins, unless there's a real freak occurrence, not a freak occurrence, unless someone gets caught with the shot really early, then it's going to be a hard night, which you still have to make Eubank the favourite again, like I did the first time. Tony
Bellew captures the raw essence of this rivalry, the pain, the drama, and the authenticity fans are witnessing. He admits it's brutal, among the toughest pains fighters endure, but also highlights the reality that it comes with a rivalry this deep. Everyone is invested because this isn't just sport, it's personal and generational. Yet when pain and drama set in, only one man thrives under that weight. And that's Chris Eubank Jr. Benn can talk about intensity and fans can hype his fire, but when things turn rough, who's still standing strong? History already answered that. Eubank Jr. has shown resilience and composure, while Benn has cracked under pressure. Bellew calls it real, and he's right. But reality consistently favors Eubank, which is why the drama always leans his way.
You know what, it was an unbelievable fight. I remember watching it, one of the best fights I've seen. I wasn't there live. I'd like to get to this next one, but I think it's going to be another great fight, and I'm going for Conor Benn for the win.
Do you believe he stopped Eubank this time?
Definitely capable.
So here it is. The entire rivalry comes down to this rematch. For Conor Benn, it's desperation, a shot to rewrite history and prove he belongs at this level. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's about legacy. Win again, and he doesn't just silence Benn's camp, he closes the rivalry for good. Fans expect Benn to bring intensity, but fire fades when faced with composure, and that's the difference between them. Eubank's cold focus against Benn's reckless emotion. If Benn somehow scores the upset, it shakes the division and flips the story. But if Eubank wins, it proves the gap in levels, and that Benn can't reach him. The real question is, who wants it more when the lights come on? Are you backing Chris Eubank Jr. to secure his dominance, or do you believe Conor Benn can shock the boxing world?